Howzit here, welcome back to the channel, and today I want to give you my 1 week review of the OnePlus Nord 2. And so I've already done an unboxing, walkthrough, a camera comparison against the Xiaomi 11T. So I've already gone through a bunch of different aspects about the phone. And so in this review, I'll talk about all that stuff again as far as my extended experience over the course of the week. But I want to mainly focus on connectivity and how that's been here in the US for me, and battery life and my experience with that. So first off, I just want to reiterate the hardware. I really like this hardware. I love this frosted glass back. It's really nice, really does not pick up any fingerprints because of that frosted matte back. Feels really nice and soft to the touch as well. And it fits in with the OnePlus 9 and 9 Pro lineup. So it looks like a OnePlus 9 or 9 Pro, just a bit smaller. And so if you got the OnePlus 9 Pro and you wanted something smaller, you might have wanted to pick up the OnePlus 9. And it is smaller, but actually not by that much if you look at it here. So Pro and the 9. 9 is a bit smaller, but not a ton, not as noticeably smaller as you would think. And so this OnePlus Nord 2 is really nice. It's 6.4 inches, and it's even a little bit smaller than the OnePlus 9. May not look like it here, but holding it, this OnePlus 9 feels a little bit bigger because it's a little bit wider, noticeably bigger to me. And this Nord 2, as far as size, is kind of like that just right fit. So if you don't want something really big, but you don't want something super small and compact either, this is going to be about as compact as you're going to get on an Android phone outside of the Sony Xperia 5 III or something like that. It fits in the hand really nicely, feels very comfortable while still being fairly substantial and having the aesthetics of a higher end phone and even the materials of a higher end phone. Even though the the frame is plastic, you can't really tell too much. And you even have the classic OnePlus slider, alert slider, so for mute and turning on your alerts or vibrations. So that's really nice. It has that as well. So very much a high-end phone for OnePlus as far as design, hardware, and aesthetics. And I really like that. I think this size is just perfect. So outside of that, let's go into connectivity and how that's been here in the US. I've been using this on Mint Mobile. So let's see actually if you can see that. Right here it says T-Mobile. Mint Mobile runs on T-Mobile's network, and that's what I've been primarily using this on. And so pretty much my experience has been similar to my usage of the Vivo X70 Pro Plus. So it's not going to be, as far as data connectivity, it's fast enough. I can bring up some speed tests that I've done. It's on par with what I was getting on my Vivo X70 Pro Plus as far as LTE speeds. I don't get 5G. It does support band N41, which T-Mobile does use for 5G, but I'm not pulling down 5G speeds here in my part of Northern California here in the US. So maybe if you got a good band N41 signal in your area on T-Mobile, you should be able to get 5G on this device, but I'm not getting it, just like I was not getting it on the Vivo X70 Pro Plus. And my LTE speeds are on par with that Vivo. It's not as fast as I'm getting on a device made for the US, like my Pixel 6 or 6 Pro, which is getting, 100, 200, even 300 megabytes down. This is getting, as you can see, maybe 20 upwards of 80 megabytes down on average. And that's pretty much what I get getting on the Vivo. And that's more than fast enough to do pretty much most common things, including streaming video. So connectivity in that respect is good enough. But if you're concerned and you really want 5G or you want the fastest possible speeds, this probably won't be the device for you. Also, as far as calling, I've noticed the phone signal isn't as strong as it is on my Vivo. So I don't get the best signal in my home, but I'm getting a better signal on the Vivo than I am with this Nord 2 indoors. Outdoors is just fine. It pulls on the signal no problem, as you would expect. So phone calls and everything is fine outdoors, but it's a little bit tougher indoors for me with this phone than it is on my Vivo. So a little bit weaker signal here on the Nord 2 that I'm noticing. So that could be a little bit of an issue for you. If you're in an area with a weak signal or you have thick walls, that could be a problem. So connectivity is not the best. It's doable, but not particularly the best. Now moving on to the battery, it's a 4,500 milliamp hour capacity battery, and it supports OnePlus's 65 watt warp charging. So it does charge 0 to 100 with the included warp charger and cable in 30 minutes. So just as fast as the 9 and 9 Pro. So that's a great feature to have in a $400 phone. You have the same warp charging that you have in their high-end OnePlus 9 and 9 Pro. Charges just as fast. I've done it several times, works perfectly. And as far as battery life, so we can go into some of the screenshots that I've got over my 3 cycles of charging with it. So on my first cycle, you can see here I got 1 day, 6 hours and 48 minutes off the charger, so over a day, and about 4 hours of screen on time. So this is when I was doing my camera comparison with the 11T, so I was using the camera heavily along with all my other regular usage. So 4 hours of screen on time, a little over a day off the charger with some pretty heavy camera usage. That's not too bad, but it's only improved over time as you would expect, because Android, the battery has to learn your habits and it should adapt and improve over time. And under normal regular usage conditions, it's been improving. So the next cycle, I use it more in normally, like how I normally would, not so intensely with the camera, just normal everyday usage. I got 6 hours of screen on time with almost 2 days off the charger. So 1 day, 21 hours. And you can see here what I was doing, heavy YouTube, Twitter, Spotify, all that kind of stuff. So basic usage, 6 hours of screen on time, almost 2 days off the charger. And this last cycle, I got even better, tried to push it even harder. I got almost 7 hours of screen on time and about 1 day and 18 hours. So again, almost 2 days off the charger. So I do believe that screen on time is important, as equally as important as time off the charger, because it gives you some relative data points to know, like, say I got 2 days off the charger, but I was only using it for maybe one hour of that period. That's not the greatest, but if I was using it for 4 hours or 6 hours and still got 2 days off the charger, that's pretty good. So I think with both data points, you get more idea of what kind of battery life I'm getting, as far as how much time off the charge, combined with how I'm using it to get that. And I think that's important information, and you can apply that to how you're using your device and extrapolate that to figure out, would you get something similar? Bottom line, I think battery life has been just getting better and better, and I think almost 2 days off charge, you're going to get through at least a day. And even under my heavier usage, I'm getting like 7 hours of screen on time, which is fantastic. So battery life, not really a problem, and it's actually been really, really good here. And as far as everything else about the phone, as I've been using it over the course of the week, like performance, it's been holding up just fine. No lag, no stutters, no problems there. Basic tasks are more than fast enough. I don't see, like I said, any lag at all. Typical gameplay for the basic games that I play runs perfectly smooth. I don't think you're going to have any issues with that unless you're doing something crazy, like some really top-end games. But for my types of games, it's been no problem. Display, I mean, it looks fantastic. This really nice AMOLED display. Yes, it's 1080p, but it is a 90 Hz refresh rate, not 120. But again, with Oxygen OS 11, everything is running super smooth and speedy. I don't really have a problem with not having 120 Hz. It looks really smooth. And the display is nice, vibrant. Viewing content on it has been exceptional. So I think for a $400 device, performance and display especially is top notch. And then again with the cameras, I've already done that camera comparison. So you've seen all the camera samples for yourself. The ultra wide isn't much to write home about. It's more than serviceable, but it's nothing spectacular. The main attraction is the main lens, which is the Sony IMX766. It's used again in some higher end phones like the Vivo X7 Pro, not the Pro Plus. It's used in the brand new Oppo Find N, used in the Xiaomi 12, not the Pro, but the 12. So a lot of newer phones are using that sensor, and that's the shining light here. So even though the image signal processor and the MediaTek chipset may not be the best, the hardware in this case is making up for a lot of that gap and producing some pretty nice photos for a phone in this price point. Also, the selfie camera has been really surprising as well. I think it's actually been performing just as well, maybe even better than the 9 and 9 Pro actually. Photos in both good daytime and in low light from the selfie camera have actually looked really good. And this actually has a night mode on the front-facing camera, which the 9 and 9 Pro don't. If you turn on your selfie camera on your 9 and 9 Pro, you try to hit night mode, it's going to flip back to the rear cameras. There is no night mode on the front cameras on these really expensive phones. On their lower end phone, for some reason, they put night mode on, and I think the photos come out looking better than these two phones here. So selfie camera has also been a pleasant surprise here on the Nord 2. So just to wrap this up, overall, my pros and cons after using it for a week, the Dimensity 1200 is more than enough performance for average day-to-day use. It's got a great display, very close to much more expensive phones. It has a much more above average camera at this price point. The main sensor, the Sony IMX766, is found in phones twice its cost. It's got great battery life. So like I said, I'm getting like 2 days off the charger with 67 hours of screen on time, which is fantastic, I think. And the price, at about $400, you're getting all of that for $400, very close to flagship-like experience. From the hardware to the display, to the main camera, to the battery life, all of that is fantastic at much less than some of these higher-end phones. And as far as cons, like I said, is probably going to be connectivity for me, at least in the US market. It's not designed to be used in the US market, so that's not surprising. Like I said, LTE speeds are more than fast enough, but you probably won't get 5G. You might, but I wouldn't hold my breath. And the LTE speeds aren't as fast as phones that are designed for the US. And I have been having some lesser connectivity from as far as phone signal. So phone signal has not been as good on this device for me. So that's going to wrap it up for my 1 week impressions of using the OnePlus Nord 2. Like I said, again, I think it's a fantastic device. If connectivity was a little bit better, I would highly recommend it. I still do. It's more than usable here in the US, especially at a $400 price point. You're getting a lot of phone. So again, if you have any other questions or comments, leave them down below. I'll try to answer what I can. And as always, thanks for watching.